Okay, hello everybody. Today we are going to be doing a ramp protocol for a college level thrower who has shoulder tendinopathy. We are going to start with some across the chest shoulder stretch. So, what we are going to do is we're going to take one of our arms out to the side, bring it across our chest, and lightly pull in until you feel a nice stretch in your shoulder. If you have pain, release just a little bit. If you don't, you can pull a little bit tighter. Trying to get a nice stretch right across the deltoid. We're going to hold this for about 30 seconds and then switch. Following that, we are going to be doing a cane stretch. So we are going to take a cane like so. Hold the cane with our fully functioning arm and push back till we feel a nice stretch in our shoulder once again. Take the cane, hold it, keep that arm straight, just push back until you get a good stretch, full range of motion. Hold for about 30 seconds, and then you'll be able to release. Sides, perfect job. Following that, we are going to be doing a 90-degree behind the shoulder stretch with a band. We're going to take a band like so. You can also do this with a strap if need be. Hang it over your shoulder. Grab it with your arm like so. And you're going to pull up with that top arm till you get a nice stretch. Be careful on this one, not to overstretch. This is a more aggressive one. I do like to use a band for that exact reason, so it has a little bit more give. And pull up until you feel that stretch. Should feel it right about here. Hold for about 30 seconds. Make sure to use both sides. Next, we're going to do some activating for your shoulder. This is during the pre-ramp that you would do maybe in your AT before you get onto the field so that you are ready to warm up with the rest of the track team. We are going to start with some internal and external rotations that will be banded. You are going to take a towel, pinch it in between your shoulder and your side. You are going to grab the handle of the band with your affected arm. And for the external rotations, you're going to start with, or the internal rotations, we're going to start with our hand at 90 and just rotate it internally until we touch our belly. If you feel pain, step a little bit closer. If it's too easy, step a little bit further out. So we're going to take this hand, bring it in right at 90 degrees, 90, 90. Take a little bit of step out, there we go. And back to neutral. Don't let this have too much slack on it. It should have a little bit of tension the whole time. Following this, we're going to do some external rotations. So we're going to have the participant rotate and face that way. Keep that in your hand. Still pinching the towel with her elbow at a 90-90 position. She's going to take her hand from internally rotated to externally rotated. I will show you an example. For the external rotations, you're going to let the band pull your arm inward, making sure to pinch the towel in between your side and with your elbow, and rotate outwards as far as you can comfortably. This is that banded external rotation. Next, we are going to do some banded cookie trays to get some activation of your external rotators, real mild activation. We're going to take a band, hold it, palms up, thumbs out. We're going to add tension to it. We're going to extend our arms as far as we can out without raising them, and then we're just going to bring them back. We're going to do 2 sets of 15 just like that. Go ahead. Perfect. Good job. Maintain tension as she's doing. This is a perfect example. Once we have concluded with our 2 sets of 15, we are going to go ahead and move on to some I's, T's, and Y's. These are really good for activating our posterior deltoids and small musculature of the upper back. So we're going to take our hands, thumbs up for our I's. We're just going to bring them as far up as we can comfortably, and then back down. We're going to do 7 like so, then 7 out at a 45-degree angle for the Y's, and then 7 at a 90-degree angle. Go ahead and sit down. Lift your arms straight up till you hit perfect, as far as you can go, and then back down. Up and back down. Perfect, just like that. Now we're going to bring our arms out to a 45. For our Y's, rotate those hands so those thumbs are facing the ceiling. There we go. Perfect. Getting a good squeeze at the top. Nice, slow, and controlled. Now we're going to go out to a 90-degree angle. Awesome. Getting that activation of our rear delt, making sure everything's firing properly before we get to practice. Once we have completed all sets of those, we are going to go ahead and do some banded quadruped reaches. So we're going to get on the floor in a quadruped position, and we are going to have the band in our hands, and we're going to reach up at a 45-degree angle, reach directly laterally, and then reach back at a 45-degree angle. Let me move this out of your way. So you're going to hold it in your thumb. There you go. With your affected arm, you're going to just reach up at a 45-degree angle. There we go, and back to neutral. Reach directly laterally, back to neutral. And then back at a 45-degree angle, and back to neutral. And you're going to continue that for 7 reps. Try not to lift it off the ground, so like you're sliding. There we go, much better, perfect. Great job. She will continue these for 2 sets. Once she has completed that, we have one less pre-ramp warm-up. We are going to do push-up plus to activate our serratus anterior. So for these, we're going to set ourselves up on a bench. Instead of doing a standard push-up, we are just going to let our shoulder blades go back and pinch a little bit, and then push down, as if you're finishing a push-up with just your shoulder blades. It's a very small movement, but great for activating your serratus and the muscles associated with your shoulder girdle. Go ahead. We're going to do 2 sets of 7 for these. Excellent. Great job. Hello. For this portion of the video, we'll be working once again with a thrower, but this time they have tendinopathy in their TFL. We will be conducting stretching and activation protocols that will be used prior to the ramp protocols that they would have during their throwing practice. Of course, Rowers always warm up together, but when you have an injury that you are working through, even though you're cleared, you have to do certain activation and stretching protocols prior to your ramp. So that's what we're going to be doing here for the TFL. The first one we're going to be doing is the standing TFL stretch. So the way we're going to do this, we are going to stand feet together. We're going to kick one foot straight back and then to the side. Perfect. Take our arm up and lean away from our back leg. We should feel a nice stretch right here in the TFL. We're going to hold this for about 30 seconds or until it feels like it has released. Perfect. You should feel a stretch right here. There we go. Feels nice and tight. Awesome job. The next stretch we're going to do is going to be a kneeling hip flexor stretch with a crossover. So we are going to get into a kneeling position, 90 degrees, just like a normal hip flexor stretch. But this time, as we lean forward, we're going to take both hands and go towards the leg that is up. Make sure to keep that upper body up, and we're just reaching away as we lean. There we go. We should feel a stretch right here. Are we feeling it there?
Yes.
Perfect. Good position in the back. When she's not rounding the back, this is a perfect example. Be careful. Keep that knee right there. Nice job. She's going to hold this for 30 seconds or until she feels that TFL release a little bit, and then we will move on to the next one. After she has done stretch both sides, we are then going to be doing the side laying adductor stretch or deep crossover stretch, whatever you like to call it. So we're going to lay on our side. The leg that is down will be straight. The other one will step over the top. We are going to push up with our hand, focusing on keeping our hips lined perpendicular with the ground, and you'll feel a nice stretch right along here. Oof, I definitely feel this one. Go ahead, lie down on your side. Hips should be perpendicular with the ground. There we go. Take that top leg, cross over the top. And we want to square those hips right there. Should feel a pull right there, do you?
Yes.
Perfect. This will be that sideline TFL stretch. Once again, we are going to hold this for 30 seconds or until you feel that muscle release. Once she has completed this stretch for 30 seconds, you will of course do both sides, and then we will move on to the final pre-ramp stretch, which will be the pretzel stretch. For the pretzel stretch, we're still on the ground. We're going to take one leg, let it fall to your side, take the other leg, cross over like so. I'll scoot back into the video so I'm in the video a little bit better. So this leg will go down, other leg cross over like so. Notice how it is collapsing. And shoulders should be flat on the ground. You'll feel a stretch right here. This is the mild version of this stretch. If you are prepared for the more advanced version, you let this leg go down first, put your foot on top, and that'll add a little bit of weight, a little bit of stretch. That is depending on where the individual is and if they can handle that stretch or not. Go ahead. So shoulders flat on the ground. Hold on. We're going to reset up. This leg's going to come out first. This one's going to be right here in this position. Notice how your legs are not quite at 90 degrees. You should feel a stretch right here. Keep those shoulders on the ground. Don't let them come off. If you do, the whole stretch that we're creating in your TFL will no longer be there. If you can handle it, like I mentioned earlier, you're going to add a little bit of weight with that foot to add an additional stretch onto that TFL. This is going to be our final pre-ramp stretch for the TFL tendinopathy. She's going to do both sides for 30 seconds or until she feels that release. Okay, next will be the warm-up for the TFL. We are going to do TFL specific stuff. Some of them will be activating the adductors because sometimes the TFL will take over for those adductors and become exceedingly tired. So by activating those adductors, kind of make sure that they are warmed up and ready to go. We will also work on some things that will activate the glute med so that when in conjunction with the warmed up adductors and the activated glute med, we will take a lot of the effort that the TFL is putting in out of the equation so that it is less intense pain on that tendon of your IT band. So we are going to start with a side lying internal external rotation. So you're going to go ahead and lay on your side. The bottom leg should be extended. You're going to take the top leg and step over, foot on the ground. You can go ahead and fully lay on your side. Now, you're just going to internally and externally rotate that lower leg. So that means you're just going to turn your foot up, flat, and rotate up as far as you can. Try rotating from your whole leg. Don't move your hips. There we go. Just rotate and back down. It's not going to be a lot of movement, but this will activate your internal and external rotators. Once we have done these, we are going to stay in the same position and we are going to do leg adductions, side lying leg adductions. So she's going to start with those internal and external rotations. She's going to do 2 sets of 15 of internal and external rotations. And then when she's done, we are going to work on those adductions. So she's finished these. We've done both sides. Now, in the same position, same exact position, she's just going to lift this foot as high off the ground as she can, making sure that your hips are perpendicular with the ground. Go ahead and lift that lower leg up. Perfect. It won't be very much, and it's going to be very tiring. Perfect. We're going to do 2 sets of 10 on these. Make sure to give her a break in between these sets. So try not to bend your knee so much when you lift that up. Perfect. Looking good. Next, what we're going to do, she's going to conclude her 2 sets of 10. Make sure she works both sides. Then we're going to do some banded crab walks. So you're going to take this band, put it on just above the knees, get in a nice athletic position, and we're just going to sidestep. When we sidestep, we never want our feet to come all the way together, and we don't want the band to pull in our knees. We want to keep our knees over that second toe. Just slightly above the knees. There we go. Getting a nice athletic position. Perfect. Step. Beautiful. Keeping the knees over the toes. I love it. For these, we're going to go in about 20 yards in either direction. 20 yards one way. Once we get there, 20 yards back. And that will be activating our glute meds, getting them ready to take off some of that effort that our TFL is doing. For those overactive TFLs, it's an internally rotating our leg. This will allow our adductors are already warm, so our TFL won't be internally rotating anymore, and the glute med will fight against that and will externally rotate and keep us all nice and balanced when we are doing our rest of our warm-ups. Next, we will be doing clamshells. If they are able to, we are going to do these banded. If not, you can always do clamshells unbanded. We are going to go ahead and lay on the ground. Our knees are going to be bent, not quite at 90 degrees. They're going to be extended, I would say, at about a good 45. We're going to keep our heels together and just open up our legs like so, with the band up here just above the knees. Go ahead and lay down. Perfect. Bend just above the knees. We don't want to be at a 90-degree position. We want to have our knees bent about 60, hips at about 45. There we go. Keep our heels together and just open up, hold for 2 seconds, and return. Open up, hold for 2 seconds, and return. We're going to do 2 sets of 10 of these on either side. Perfect. The last thing that we will be doing, I have always called them J-Los. You could call them whatever you like. They are a great way to activate the glute med without activating our TFL, because sometimes it likes to get in the way. So we're going to take that band off. Lay on your side. Go ahead, both legs extended. So the top leg is going to come back slightly. There we go. Make sure never to bring it forward. It should always be slightly behind you to ensure that you are activating your glutes and fully taking out the TFL out of the picture. Now you're just going to externally rotate your toes towards the sky a little bit, on the top foot, and just lift it up. There we go, as high as you can. There we go. As you can see, she brought her leg forward. This means she probably has some weakness in that glute med. Also, you can tell her TFL is very active. We're trying to take that out of the question, so I'm going to give her some instructions. So we're gonna bring this leg back a little bit, right there, just lift, and then back down. Perfect. Lift, and back down. Perfect. Keep that toe up a little bit. As you can tell, she definitely has some weakness in her glute med. This is something we're gonna have to work on in the future. She's gonna do 2 sets of 10 of these. Excellent job. Now that we have concluded the pre-warm-up portion, we will join the rest of the team and do ramp protocols, getting us ready for throwing practice. Up to this point, we have worked on athletes with a shoulder injury and one with a TFL injury. Right now, we are fully ready to go, begin our ramp protocol. This is just for our injured athletes. Of course, you know, everybody on the team has to have their ramp protocol done, but you can't just force everybody to do the TFL warm-up even when they don't have the same issues. So we set this up so that the athlete does their stuff right before practice and can join the ramp warm-up once they are done. Of course, I will instruct this individual to show up a little early so that by the time they are done, everybody else is just showing up and getting ready to warm up so we can do it together. Okay, next we're going to be doing the raise portion of the ramp protocol. We're going to start with just a quick jog around the track. Of course, we don't have a track here, so she's going to do some laps down and back on the driveway. Following that, we're going to do some jumping jacks for about a minute. We're going to do some skips down and back, about 40 yards worth, then 40 yards worth of karaokas, and we'll finish it off with some bear crawls, once again, about 40 yards. After that, the raise portion should be concluded. Here we go. So let's start with just a quick, easy jog, light down and back. Of course, if we were doing this in the appropriate location, it would be on a track and we would do a full lap. These are throwers, so you know they don't need to run too much, but enough to get themselves warm. Okay, once she is done with that, she's going to do some skips down and back, focusing on driving that knee up, pushing off the back leg, driving the opposite arm, like so. She's going to go ahead and step down and back. There we go. Really drive those arms. Use those for your forward momentum. She's doing a pretty decent job. Drive that arm. Go ahead. Drive it. Like you're trying to jump or trying to run. Hi, little one. Okay, next we're gonna be doing some cariokas. Ensuring that when we step over on the front side of our body, we're getting that hip up nice and high while still staying smooth, focusing on getting some good rotation out of our hips, warming ourselves up, getting ourselves ready to throw. There's a lot of rotating and throwing, so we always have to make sure that our hips are good to internally, externally rotate. Our lower back is good to internally, externally rotate, so that's what she's gonna do. As you do your cariokas, remember, always face the same way. So you're gonna face me on the way down, face me on the way back. You're gonna be going laterally. The way this is going to look is you're going to step behind your leg, step over, then step in front of your leg. Step over, step behind your leg, step over, step in front of your leg. Perfect. Now let's add some speed to this. She's gonna go approximately 40 yards, down 20 back. Go ahead. There you go, getting that hip up nice and high. I love that. A lot of people just keep their legs real low, do super small ones. That's not what we're looking for. We're trying to get some good hip motion on these cariokas. As you can see, she's doing a great job doing these down and back. She hasn't done these in a while, so they're not the smoothest, but I think she's doing pretty good. Our final thing we are going to be doing is going to be some bear crawls, making sure to keep our hips flat so that we really have to activate our core. We're also going to be activating our shoulders, keeping ourselves stable. The way we are going to do these, we're going to get on all fours. Make sure to keep yourself stable. I don't want you doing a whole bunch of this as you crawl. As you can see, when I demo, we're really focusing on keeping our whole upper body stable the entire time. So go ahead, let's see, down and back. There we go. This will be activating our core, activating our lower body, activating our upper body, all in one go. If we were on a field, I'd make her finish this all the way down and back, but I'm not gonna do that, so we're gonna go on to our next portion, which is going to be activate. Okay, what we're gonna be doing next is the activate portion. We've already done our warm-ups for our shoulders or TFL for the injured athletes. Now we are with our entire team. Everybody's gonna be doing all this stuff together on the field, on the grass, on the track, wherever you are. And we are gonna start with some single leg glute bridges. So go ahead, lay on your back. I want you to bring, perfect, she knows what these are. She's going to set herself up. Lay fully on the ground, lift your leg that is straight up in the air a little bit. Then you're gonna drive through your heels, push your hips up, perfect. You see that nice flat plane right there. She's getting really good glute activation. Hold it for about 2 seconds and go back down. We're gonna do about 2 sets of 10 of these on each side, making sure our glutes are activated. Throwing power always comes from the floor, and a lot of our power comes going from the floor, starts in our glutes. So we always got to make sure our glutes are fully activated before we start working. The next thing we're going to be doing is going to be a med ball lunge and rotate. Once again, throwers are doing lots of rotating, so we have to make sure all our body is ready to go at all times. So the way we're going to do this is we're going to take a med ball, just do a standard front lunge, go down, then rotate towards the forward leg. Lunge, rotate towards the forward leg. Slow and controlled, getting some activation in our core. What's the choice? So lunge, rotate towards that down leg. Perfect. Once again, lunge, rotate towards that down leg. If we were on a field, we would be doing these for about 20 yards down and back. Since we are not, we're gonna do a few just for the video's perspective. The next thing we're gonna do is some, pause. Okay, next we're gonna do some banded step ups. I'm gonna take this band, put it on the leg that she is going to be doing a step up with, I am going to pull inwards and she's going to have to resist. So while she's doing her step up, it will make sure that she's properly activating her glutes rather than just pushing from the quads, or maybe working, of course, those muscles that we already loosened earlier. So we want to make sure that she is doing everything properly, using hammies, quads, glutes in conjunction during her step up. So that's why we're getting this band. Go ahead and put one leg up on there. There we go. I'm going to take this band. She is going to go like so, right below her knee. I'm going to pull in, not too much, just enough to add some tension. As I do that, she is going to step up, making sure to not let that knee come in. Perfect, and back down. We're going to do 2 sets of 10 on each leg. And one more. She's doing a great job keeping those knees over her toes and not letting that come in. You could tell she's struggling a little bit, but she is doing a great job at fighting it. So I am very happy with this. Next thing we're going to do are some thrower specific drills. They are done at every practice because they can be used for hammer, for discus, and for shot put. So I call these 90s, 180s, 270s, and 360s, or pivot drills. Next, you will see how these are going to work. So in order to do these properly, we have to do them on something we can slide on, as if you were wearing throwing shoes. You are going to put your main pivot foot on the disc, or if you had throwing shoes on, you would be fine like that. You are going to squat down slightly. You'll have about a 135-degree angle at your hip and knee. This is going to ensure that we keep our knee over our second toe, and we are going to just rotate 90 degrees. Then we're going to rotate again 90 degrees. We're going to keep this over until we've done 5 full circles, 90 degrees at a time. Then we'll do the same thing for 180 degrees, same thing for 270, and same thing for 360. While we're doing this, we are going to ensure that all the musculature of our legs are activated properly so that we are ready to throw as soon as our ramp protocol is over. So come over here, step on the disc, go ahead and activate your legs. Perfect, good position. Now we're going to rotate 90 degrees. Perfect. Rotate 90 more degrees. Perfect. Keep going. And one more time. If we were at practice, we would do this 5 times, but now she is going to move up to the 180 degree rotation. So 180 degrees. Make sure to activate your full chain, getting that glute activation, sitting back a little bit, leg out. She looks stable. Now let's do our 180 degree turn. Perfect. That was beautiful. Just like that. Again, that's full 360. We're going to give her one more. Go ahead. Love it. Everything there. You can see that last one, she was getting a little stable. That's because she leaned forward a little bit too much rather than sitting back and activating her glutes. We're going to move on to the 270s next. We're going to do 2 of those, and then we'll do 1 360. Of course, if we were at practice, we would do 5 full turns of each one. So go ahead for your 270, 3/4 turn. So what you did there is you lean forward. As soon as you pushed off that back foot, you transfer that weight forward. We want to stay sitting back, sit on our center of gravity. Activate those glutes. Go ahead, rotate. Much better. Do you see how much smoother that was when she was perfectly over that center line, over her center of gravity? That last turn is exactly what we're looking for. We're going to do one more with a 360 degree turn. Boom. Using what she learned in that 270, she applied that again, stayed really balanced. That turn was super clean. Now when she's going to throw later, I'm sure she's going to have a perfect perfectly activated body so that she can hit those turns before she explodes and gets those throws going. Okay, the last thing we are going to be doing for the activate portion is going to be some walking RDLs. These are going to work on single leg stability, a lot of throwing stuff. Yes, you are on two legs when you finish, but in the in-between steps, you are exploding off of one leg. You are jumping backwards or gliding. You are doing so many things that include being stable on one leg, so we are going to hit these. Make sure we are kept in good position, activate our posterior chain. So we are going to do some walking single leg RDLs. We will do these about 40 yards, 20 yards down, 20 yards back. We are going to alternate which leg we use. The way we are going to do these is we're going to take a step forward, hinge at the hips, stay stable, back to neutral, take another step forward, hinge at the hips, back to neutral, take another step forward, so on and so forth. Go ahead, take a step, hinge at the hips, there we go. Get a good activation in the glutes and hammies, take a step. Beautiful. She's got a little bit of ankle instability here, not too bad, but she is making sure to activate her full leg. Try driving those toes into the ground like you're rooting them, and it will help activate the rest of your ankle and keep you a little bit more stable. There you go, much better. You can tell that after that instruction, she's driving those toes in and she was much more stable. The next portion we're going to be getting into is going to be the mobilize portion. The next portion we're going to be getting into is the mobilize portion of the ramp protocol. We are going to start with one of my favorite stretches ever, and I guess, the best stretch ever because it's the world's greatest stretch. We're going to start by getting into a deep lunge. Once we are in that deep lunge, make sure that back leg is nice and straight. We're going to plant the arm on the ground that is on the same side as the back leg. Perfect. We're going to take the opposite arm, bend it into a 90-degree angle. There we go. Let's put this in front of our arm that is down. There we go. Now rotate towards that down arm as far as you can. Get some rotation out of our spine. You'll feel it in your hip. You'll feel it over in your glutes a little bit. Now rotate towards the sky. Extend the arm. Go as far as you can. Hold about 2 seconds. And then rotate back in. Hold about 2 seconds. And then back out. 2 seconds at your peak. Perfect. And then back in. We're going to continue this for 10 reps on each side. 2-second holds at the top. Nice job, nice job. Really focus on rotating your entire upper body in. Don't just bring your arm across. That was much better. Awesome job. Cool. After she has completed both of these, we are going to do the figure 4 stretch. Get our piriformis and glutes stretched out. So we're going to go ahead and lay on our backs. We are going, exactly, she's already set up. We're going to take our knee that is up and put our foot on the other side of the leg that is down. Nope. Just listen to what I'm telling you, please. Put it on the ground on the other side. On the ground. Now, the foot on the ground on the other side. There we go. And now please bring your knee that is straight towards your chest. Bend your knee and bring it towards your chest. There we go. Now grab that leg that is on the underside with both arms and pull it up. There we go. Once we're in this position, we're not complete, but we're almost there. We're going to take this leg and put it in a 90-degree position. Perfect. Now pull that in nice and tight until you get that pull in your glute. Keep the toes pointing towards the ceiling. Love it. We're going to hold this stretch for 30 seconds on each side. Nice job. Are you feeling this in your glutes? Perfect. Feeling it right where we're supposed to. Getting that figure 4 stretch in. This is always one of my tight areas, my piriformis, so this is a regular for me. Once she has completed her figure 4 stretch, we're just going to do a seated hamstring stretch. So go ahead and sit down, legs straight. So when we're doing these, we also want to stretch our calves. So I'm not gonna let her point her toes at all. I'm gonna keep those pointed towards the ceiling. She's gonna reach as far as she can and touch those toes if possible. Oh, she's got it. So since that seemed pretty easy, I'm gonna have her grab her toes now. Go ahead and grab them, pull them towards you if you can. Awesome job getting that hamstring stretch. Do you feel it in your hammies? Do you feel it in your calves? Perfect. Not everybody will feel these in their calves unless you have tight calves. I, for instance, do, and every time I do this, I feel this in both my calves and my hammies. If somebody has lots and lots of mobility in their calves, you might only feel this in your hamstrings, and that is okay. But for most of us, I'd say we're gonna feel it in both. So she's gonna hold the stretch for about 30 seconds, and then we're gonna move on to the next one. Okay, next stretch she's gonna stand up for. This is gonna be a quad stretch. She's going to do some flamingos, standing quad stretch, goes by quite a few names. So she's gonna stand on one foot, kick this leg back, grab it with her hand. If she needs to stabilize herself, you can. A lot of times out in the field, you don't have that option, but in here we do. Make sure you squeeze your glutes and push your hips forward. There we go. And pull that leg back. Not just up, but back, so that we stretch the hip flexors. Our rectus femoris is not just, a knee extensor, it's also a hip flexor. So really stretch that out. Pulling that leg back, not just up, helps us do that. Do we feel it here and here?
Yes.
Perfect job. So she's going to do each side for 30 seconds or until she feels that muscle relax. Okay. Next thing we're going to do is going to be some banded shoulder stretches. We're going to do a couple of things. So the first one's going to be, just going to put some tension on that band. Lift them up overhead as far as we can. Go back. And just let that band pull your shoulders and your pecs. You will definitely feel this. I feel it along here in my lateral delt, and I also feel it in my pec. Go ahead.
Guys are cute. I'm listening to this.
She's going to lift that up, go as far back as she can. Allow the tension to stretch her pecs. Also stretch her rear and medial delt. You feel it in the described areas? Perfect. She's going to hold this for 30 seconds. And then we'll move on to our next one. Nice job. Feeling where we want it? Awesome. So the next one we're going to do is going to be a banded shoulder stretch. This is a staple in the throwing community. If you're a javelin thrower, it's a must. But any of the throwing activities, it should be done. I'm going to tilt this screen up just a little bit so you can see me because this one is kind of high. We're going to take a band, attach it up nice and high. Hold on to the band. We are going to step forward with the leg that the band is in. Let this pull your hand back, and then we are going to rotate towards our back leg. You are definitely going to feel this in your anterior part of your delt. Go ahead. So you're going to step forward with the other leg. There we go. Keep your hips squared forward. There we go. And rotate away from the down leg. So rotate towards me. There we go. But keep those hips squared. And you feel it? You can let it pull your arm back. There we go, right there. You can see she has some tightness in those shoulders, but she's doing a great job. I love it. She's feeling that stretch in the shoulders, definitely. We feeling the right spot?
Yeah.
Awesome. She's going to do 30 seconds on both sides. rotate away. There we go. I love it. There we go. Let that pull your shoulder back. Okay, now you can go ahead and release. We got one more stretch going on for our pecs. These are a pretty standard stretch. 90-90 pec stretch. Put your hand on anything in a 90-90 degrees position and just step forward. That's it. You're gonna feel this in your pec. Also gonna feel it in your shoulder. Pecs, what we're aiming for, but shoulder definitely will be affected. Just lean into it, let it stretch your pec. We're gonna hold these for 30 seconds. Perfect. She's doing a great job, leaning into it, making sure to get the most out of her stretch. She's going to do both sides, 30 seconds each. And this will conclude the mobilize portion of the ramp protocol. Lastly, we're going to go into the potentiate portion, and then she will be warmed and ready to go. Okay, the last portion we're going to be doing today is the potentiate portion of the ramp protocol. We're going to really make sure that we're priming and activating our muscles, get them ready to go and perform at high levels. So we're going to start with some standing long jumps. Generally, you would do these on a track or a field. We don't have a lot of room and it's getting dark outside, so we're going to have to do these inside. She is going to jump about 20 yards. In here, we'll just have her jump, turn, and jump the other direction. Make sure to emphasize explosiveness in our jump. Go as far as we are comfortably able to. Of course, you don't want to fall, so we're not trying to go our max. We just want to push out as much power as possible. So what you're going to do is you're going to crouch and prime, bring your hands back and explode forward as far as you can for about 20 yards. Considering where each jump is going to be about, a yard and a half, we'll probably end up doing 10 to 15 jumps in total. So we're going to prime ourselves, squat, bring our hands back, jump, and drive those arms forward at the same time. Boom. See there? No problem. She had a little bit extra forward momentum, but she handled herself great. She's going to turn around and do the same thing in the other direction. Since we're in the garage, she's just going to be doing 10 of these. Put a little bit more force, get a little bit more jump. Back up, back up, back up. We want you to feel comfortable jumping as far as you can within reason. Go ahead. Explode. Come back. Try to get a little bit more height. You're not jumping high enough, so all your force is going forward, which is why you're having so much trouble and stumbling in your landing. Get a little bit more height. Boom. That is exactly what we were looking for. She got more height on that one. Notice when she landed, she didn't stumble. She used all that forward momentum in the process. That is what we want going forward. If we were elsewhere, we would continue on with them just like that. That was perfect. The next thing we are going to do is another staple of throwing protocols, and it's the granny toss. We do these in two separate ways. We are in a garage, so I won't be able to have her throw all out, but I will make sure that it is clearly understood. So generally you take a 10 to 15 pound ball, similar to the weight of a shot put or a hammer. We're going to get in a nice squatted granny throw position, and we are going to drive up through our heels, keeping, of course, our back and everything fully activated, ready to go. Take that ball, explode up, and throw over our head backwards. So up, explode, and backwards. This is very similar to a hammer throw right at the end. After you turn, you drive up and throw over your shoulder with a slight rotation. It's not exactly the same, but it is a great way to prime yourself and get ready for it. I'm gonna have her do these. I'm not gonna have her put the full force to throw it backwards because I don't need a hole in my ceiling, but we are gonna get it going. So she's just gonna kind of slightly toss it over her shoulder, but she's gonna set up exactly properly. Go ahead and explode and throw over your shoulder. There we go. If we were doing these outside, we would make sure to get as much height as possible. We want that ball to go high, not necessarily far back. So we will do 10 of these, and then she's going to do the same thing, but forward. So go ahead, set yourself up, make sure you're driving through your feet, through your knees, through your hips, and boom, throw that forward. There we go, just like that. Working on explosiveness. Once again, we're not looking to get super far on these. We're looking to get height. She will do 10 of these, and then she will continue on to the rotational ball toss. Once again, I don't have a wall we can throw against, so or at least not something like that. Don't need a hole in my wall, but we will still do this exercise. The way we're gonna do this is we're gonna do it with a stuffed animal. We are going to get in a nice athletic position. Feet about shoulder width apart. We're gonna hold that medicine ball. We're gonna rotate, pivoting away on the ball of our foot that is closest to the wall, and then we're going to rotate towards the wall, releasing the bear. Working on that rotational power, like you would have to do in a discus turn, a hammer turn, or a shot put turn. So I'm gonna let her demo this against the wall right over here. So she's gonna get in at a nice athletic position. Go ahead, pivot away. You pivot on those toes. Go ahead, just like if you're gonna throw, and pivot towards the wall and power. Good finish. Notice how she finished all the way through, pivoted with that foot. Everything was perfect, as if she was gonna throw. I loved it. Pivot away, pivot towards with a follow through. Let's get a couple more just like that. Normally we do about 10 on each side. Pivot with the toes and pivot towards the wall and release. Love it. Excellent job. Have nothing to complain about. The next thing we are going to do, the next and final exercise, is going to be the medicine ball chest press throw to really get that upper body power going so that we are ready to throw. The way we are going to do this is we are going to take the medicine ball in our hand. Go ahead and pick that up. Bring it towards our chest like you're going to throw it at me as hard as possible. This time though, we're going to bend our hips so that we are at a 90-degree facing the ground and push as hard as you can towards the ground. Boom! Explosive power. Bring those hands out at the end. I love the fact that she did that. Push and explode. There we go. Let those hands go out to the side. Boom! Love it. We're going to do 2 sets of 10 like this. Explosiveness, working on the chest, shoulder, tricep explosive power. This is great for getting yourselves ready for shot put, javelin, any of the throwing sports really. With this, we will have concluded our ramp protocol for throwers. Of course, we did our warm-up individually because an injured individual would have to do their injury-specific warm-ups prior to the ramp protocol, and then once they are done, they will join the rest of the team, which is what you see here, doing the ramp as a group, as a team member, and now the whole group is ready to throw. She is nice, warmed, primed, ready to go. Now she's gonna go PR. Thank you for watching my video.